All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick and Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another episode of the Patriots Daily Podcast, powered by Prize Picks, powered by Omaha Steaks, and this one powered by you guys who are watching live as members, and also powered by Drake Maye. Another incredibly impressive performance from the Patriots' second-year quarterback, continuing to reset the record books and reset what we expect, frankly, from a second-year quarterback. He's been sensational. So what I'm going to do is stay on my Drake Maye soapbox for a bit here and outline exactly what kind of ridiculous run this QB is on. Then we're going to have Taylor and myself a little bit break down some more specific plays from Drake Maye's incredible day against the Titans. We have a couple hole shots that Drake Maye was able to hit on a touchdown drive, the one that ended in Austin Hooper mossing a cornerback in the end zone. We also have a couple alerts that Drake Maye figured out and made stuff happen in very crucial moments in this game. And finally, we have some nitpicks on Drake Maye's scrambling ability. Not so much his abilities in this one, but not protecting himself and leaving a little bit of meat on the bone. But first, Taylor, I got to outline just the ridiculous season Drake Maye is having. I have it all written out right here to break down for you guys, because Drake Maye, through 7 games, leads the NFL in completion percentage with just a tick over 75%. He's thrown for 1,744 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has a 116.4 passer rating that is second in the NFL to only Lamar Jackson. He has a 76.8 quarterback rating, ESPN's own quarterback rating, which is the 4th highest in the NFL. He's also the first player in NFL history with 4,000 passing yards, 500 rushing yards, 69% completion percentage in his first 20 games. He's the second quarterback in NFL history with 1,500 or more yards, 10 touchdowns, 75% completion percentage since Drew Brees in 2018. So that's the season stuff. He's incredible. He's on a historic pace, as we've seen. And now just Sunday against the Titans, which we're going to break down here, 21 of 23, a 91.3 completion percentage, a new Patriots franchise record, ahead of Tom Brady in 2007, who set the mark with an 88.5 at one point in the season. Drake Maye shatters that on Sunday. He also threw for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. He tied Tom Brady's record as well for the most games in Patriots history this season, with 200-plus yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a passer rating of 135-plus. Tom Brady did that 4 times in 2007, one of the greatest offensive years. Drake Maye's done it 4 out of 7 games already in this one. So Taylor's smiling. I don't know if he's smiling because I'm rambling or if he's smiling because of how awesome Drake Maye has been this season, but he's been sensational, Taylor. I don't know really what else to say.
There's a lot of reasons to smile. Yes, your filibuster was excellent, my friend. I asked you to make a list of the records that he's been shattering, and that's just how ridiculous he's been. That through these 7 games, he just is on a pace where he's just making the record books, doing something else with some ridiculous efficiency in each and every one of these games. This is yet another breakdown where I had to kill my darlings, which I'm slowly getting better at. I feel like it is an acquired skill, but I'm making my baby steps. But Drake's ability to make so many highlight plays in a week that you really can't even show them all in a show dedicated to highlights is pretty ridiculous. I had to leave out the crosser to Diggs because I was like, it is wide open, but it's a 3rd and 8 conversion. You really like to see this. I did get a lot of the good plays in here, though, specifically how good he was downfield. Tore up the Titans zone coverage and also his ability to go downfield. Didn't go deep quite as often as he did against the Saints. There were some opportunities, which we'll get to, but still the efficiency to go downfield, to find the weaknesses in all these different coverages and know how to exploit them. The symbiosis, if that's the right word, between Josh McDaniels and Drake Maye has been phenomenal to watch, and we will get into exactly why in this breakdown. This is going to be a treat, but also we have to acknowledge that there was a lot of meat left on the bone,
which is crazy.
Honestly, this reminded me more of kind of like the Steelers game or the early part of the season for Drake Maye, where you look at the tape and you're thinking this wasn't quite as efficient as it looked, which is ridiculous to say because you just had a franchise record with an over 90% completion rate and you adjusted completion rate. I think it was 95. So by the numbers, this kid is still lighting it up. So for most people, me nitpicking probably sounds insane. But we will go over how, one, he does need to do a better job of protecting himself. I don't care if I'm being overly sensitive. I literally have like waking nightmares about this awesome season just being obliterated because Drake Maye takes a hit he doesn't have to. So we got to get those out of the way. But some of that will come with experience. It's a case-by-case basis. We'll work that out. And there were also downfield opportunities. He could have had more yards. He could have been more efficient. And we want to see him continue to just smash the record book. So 5 minutes in, we haven't even gotten to the film. We've just been talking about the greatness that's been Drake Maye in this offense.
I figured out who I felt like in that intro. You ever watch the Kelsey podcast, The New Heights, when they have a guest and Jason reads off like all the accolades and he's like, 5-time this, 10-time that. He's the and it's like that's what I felt like.
Daenerys in Game of Thrones. First his name, Slayer of na. Yeah.
Yep. So he's Drake Maye. He's Drake Maye, and he's having by far one of the best seasons we've seen from a second-year quarterback. So let's break down exactly what he did against these Tennessee Titans. We're going to start, like I mentioned, with those back-to-back hole shots. He hit Kayshon Boutte down the left sideline and then hit Mac Hollins down the right sideline to eventually finish a drive with a touchdown to Austin Hooper. So if we pull it up here, Taylor, we can where is it? Hold on. There we go. All right. So hits Boutte on the left sideline first to start this thing off. What did you see? How did he execute it? And what happens here?
Yeah, this was an awesome play. First of all, Drake showed that he could go downfield, had a perfect passer rating on throws of 10 or more air yards. On this throw specifically, you see his ability to ad-lib against disguised coverage from the Tennessee Titans. They tried to play inverted cover 2. We'll get into exactly what they did. That is, they did it 2 times on consecutive dropbacks in this drive, and Drake Maye made them pay. So looking at the all-22 angle to start, Drake Maye is going to start his cadence, look like he's getting the snap. Right now, the Titans are in a single high look, and this cornerback to the top of the screen is going to be an off coverage. Now, Drake's going to see this, and he's going to tap his helmet to alert to a fake screen with 2 verticals. Now, last week, we actually saw Kayshon Boutte score a touchdown on the backside of this play, but here, all 3 receivers are the same side. Kayshon Boutte is the number 1 to the 3 receiver side, and we just got Hunter Henry by himself down at the bottom. Going to fake this bubble screen to Demario Douglas. You've seen this play like 3 times, I think, at this point this year. Then we have Stephon Diggs running up the seam and Kayshon Boutte outside. Now, in this coverage scheme, if this is going to be, in fact, cover 1, which is what it looks like it potentially be, but you do have L'Jarius Sneed to the bottom here, looking like he's close to the line of scrimmage. But either way, you're thinking that Stephon Diggs is probably the main target here because single high, you like to hit the seams. And with this defender playing off, is Kayshon Boutte the best answer here on a vertical? Probably not. So what we're going to get is post-snap, we're going to get still a similar look to what the structure indicates, but this top cornerback, instead of being in a deep third, is actually going to be in a deep half, just like this post safety. He's going to buzz to the outside towards the defense's left. And then this defender who's over Stephon Diggs is going to be underneath, and he's going to end up being vulnerable to this bubble screen fake, going to help create some room down the field. So let's get this play going. Drake Maye taps his helmet. Everybody else taps their helmet. We're all on the same page. Great. Drake Maye gets the snap, fakes the handoff. First of all, that is meant to try to affect anybody with their eyes in the backfield. Yep. Here, it doesn't really matter. They're all flooding towards this bubble screen side. But as you see, Drake's going to pump. Demario Douglas throws his arms up. Hey, I'm wide open. And you do see that defender in the flat get some depth initially, but then fires downhill to try to attack Demario Douglas. Now, that's going to allow Stephon Diggs to get up the seam. But as we're going to see once the play works out, he's actually going to be matched by this zone defender. So this isn't really a great picture, right? You've already got this safety with eyes. He's splitting these 2 receivers. He could potentially make a play on this, and you've got this guy screaming up the seam. It just isn't a great look. But fortunately, Kayshon Boutte shows great awareness. The safety isn't really paying him a ton of mind, even though he's playing the deep half, really playing it more like he's playing it in a deep quarter. Kayshon Boutte understands he's got a lot of space to work with, and instead of just running some kind of dummy route, he shows great awareness to settle into this space, because I don't think this is what he was supposed to do. I'm pretty sure a stop route here wouldn't have been the best idea on paper, but here, Drake Maye sees it, lets this one go as Kayshon Boutte settles right near the sticks in this pocket in space, and even more impressively, Drake Maye is going to do it while taking a hit off the left edge, somehow gets this thing off, floats right into Kayshon Boutte. Now, the corner to this side actually does a good job to try to impact the catch point, but Kayshon Boutte catches it immediately, gets into yak mode to slip off this defender. Now, another defender, first one ends up on the ground. Another defender comes in to try to make a play on this ball. Kayshon Boutte throws his back and then runs out of bounds, gets a little bit of love there from his head coach as well. Now we're going to run this from the end zone angle because this is one, obviously, that needs to be appreciated from both sides. And I want to give some context because Will Campbell does give up some heat. We've seen him get walked back at times by power. Last week, Chase Young kind of gave him the work, was able to win the edge pretty cleanly late in some pass rushes. This time, Will Campbell going to get walked back into his quarterback. Now, first, Will Campbell kind of wide hands here, and he's going to try to initiate contact, but it's pretty much a stalemate. But what you're going to notice is the pass rusher, Draymond Jones, is going to get his hand on Will Campbell's wrist. That's going to make it hard for Will Campbell to keep contact because he's pushing it up, right? You call that a forklift. And that's going to be how he raises Will Campbell's pads, gets that power, and puts him on skates a little bit. So Drake Maye lets this one go while taking a hit in his upper body, can't even step into the throw because you see he tries to put his foot down. I actually didn't even highlight this. He gets his foot stepped on. Still, again, takes the hit, lets this one fly. Kayshon Boutte settles in space, makes the catch, understands where the defender is after peeking over his shoulder, makes one man miss. Now, the ball is loose here because he tries to pull it away from the first defender. It is still out in space, and you see this defender kind of in a position where he might be able to punch it out. But Kayshon Boutte then pulls it away as the defender tries to rip it out, throws his back to that defender who's trying to make a play on the ball while once again slipping the initial tackler, then makes his way out of bounds. Really nice heads-up play. The little things for Kayshon Boutte and the chemistry that those two have shown down the field just continues to grow every week.
The chemistry and also Kayshon Boutte's cerebralness as a wide receiver can't be understated. He makes smart play after smart play, like you said here, getting out of bounds. Obviously, the ability to get rid of that defender, protect the football, but then also, like I said, just get out of bounds right away. We saw this from him last year too, getting the ball to the official, get it to the middle of the field. He's very, very smart in the way he plays every single week. So it's truly just been great to see from Kayshon Boutte. And now we have a second play here, a whole shot to Mac Hollins down the other sideline, puts it just over this defender on the right side here to set them up in the red zone, as I mentioned earlier, to ultimately finish with a touchdown.
It kind of reminds me of last week when you had the back-to-back throws where first he throws to Stephon Diggs, crazy play downfield, really shows what he can do, and then gets called back by a penalty, and he's like, screw it, I'm going to go deep to Mac Hollins again, and it was even more impressive throw because he got hit. Now, it's a little bit of apples to oranges here, but this is, again, consecutive dropbacks for Drake Maye. The only thing in between them was a 2-yard run, and you see an even more impressive throw against even tighter coverage, so just going to run it through first. Drake Maye gets the snap. Going to look to the right side, see them split into a 2-deep zone. Absolute ridiculous throw over the defender where only Mac Hollins could get it. So looking at it from the all-22 angle, you got Mac Hollins running a go route on this concept. And what we're going to see is it looks like single high initially, just like last time, one deep safety, and then you're going to have this this underneath defender initially has inside leverage, so you're thinking it's going to be cover 3, and then you're going to have what's initially looks like a deep third cornerback, but then once the play starts to kind of settle out, that defensive back or the slot defender is actually going to shift outside just like the cornerback because they're actually playing a 2-deep zone. So Drake Maye is going to get the snap. First, he's going to look to the safety, right? So this is the eye discipline for Drake Maye. He's not going to look right to Mac Hollins. First, he wants to make sure that he confirms the coverage and that he's holding that safety in position. If he looks a little bit further right, it gives that safety the ability to flip their hips and get in a position to make a throw. But Drake keeps his eyes right there, doesn't look right until, and this is another thing, he knows where he's going with the ball because he's holding the safety and then confidently goes right, sees that Matt Hollins is about even with the defender who's looking at him. And as we always say on this show, if he's even, he's leaving, especially if the defender is looking at the quarterback, because he's going to have to catch up because this wide receiver is going to be moving faster. So Drake Maye is going to let this one rip in this little pocket in space. Once Drake actually lets the ball go, you see Matt Hollins start to pull away, and that safety isn't really in a position to make a play on this. So really he only has to beat the underneath coverage. Drake Maye lets it fly, and then the defender tries to make a play on it. He jumps, but he can't get a finger on this. A beautiful ball from Drake Maye. The safety isn't really even involved in the picture. Matt Hollins does a good job seeing the sideline once he plucks this out of the air, gets 2 feet down. Big play for the Patriots. Back-to-back hole shots, even a little celebration there from Matt Hollins, a little thing he likes to do. Got to ask him what that is. I don't know if it's a backpack or what exactly that is, but impressive to put the touch on that ball to completely take both the safety and the underneath defender out of the equation for a chunk play. Not the first time we've seen Drake Maye hit the hole shots. We started to see it, especially with Matt Hollins late in the summer, but during the season, we've seen quite a few of these. We saw it in Buffalo, and now might be a weekly occurrence, just Drake Maye playing at a ridiculous level for a second-year quarterback. I didn't even know he really had this in his bag consistently until late in that summer. Didn't see it a ton in the beginning of the season, just flashes, but then get it on back-to-back plays. Maybe we start seeing it more often, and he just feels more comfortable being aggressive.
And what makes it, the efficiency of his play right now so impressive. Obviously, he has the sky-high passer ratings and the completion percentage and whatnot, completing over 90% of his passes. A lot of them are coming downfield, especially the last couple weeks against New Orleans, against Tennessee. You have it on the breakdown here, but he's 17 of 18 against zone coverage, but 7 of 8 on downfield throws. So, it's not just like and he said it after the game, he's not like I'm just check down Charlie out here thinking and dunking and getting these high percentage throws. He's doing it on throws way downfield, which we're going to get to right now, which we have a couple of alert throws here in crucial moments too, which is another key. He's pushing the ball downfield. He's doing it in this first one towards the end of the first half, and on the second one backed up towards his own end zone. So we'll break down the first one here. It was the touchdown to Kayshon Boutte. Is it on screen? Sorry, I don't.
Yep, I got it. Yep. So first off, Drake Maye literally had a perfect passer rating on downfield throws. That's the second time he's done that. He also did that against the Dolphins. And not only is he not a check down Charlie, he also is accessing the downfield part of the defense, both inside and outside. So it's not like you can play a certain kind of coverage where some quarterbacks can really only throw outside the numbers. So you play cover 2 because the safeties are buzzing to the sideline. If a guy plays really well in the post and he's throwing a lot of those right down the pipe, then you're going to play more cover 3, cover 1, so you have a safety who's right there to make a play on the ball. But no matter what you do, Drake Maye is going to make sure that you're wrong. We saw this here on the post touchdown to Kayshon Boutte to cap a 2-minute drive. The announcers thought that Josh McDaniels was going to be conservative, but Drake Maye had other ideas. I've been waiting so long. Last week, I got the touchdown to Demario Douglas where he throws the Dino post against a single high defense. Here, we're going to see him bust a bracket against quarters for a post touchdown. This is one of the hardest routes to defend in football because if you have a quarterback who can put it on the money, the fastest way to the end zone is in a straight line, and especially when you're going down the middle of the field. So looking at this from the all-22 angle, what we're going to get here is Kayshon Boutte on the outside running a post. But the primary concept here is really Demario Douglas on a crossing route. And you're also going to get to the backside. We're going to get Stephon Diggs running a dig. But this is what's called an alert, where instead of going to where the progression is supposed to go. So again, this 2-man concept, if you like your matchup, you can go to this single receiver side and access the deep part of the field. And with Drake Maye, we know if he likes the matchup, he's going to go for it, especially on the hot streak he's currently on. And that post is going to look good because what we're going to get from the Titans is a quarters defense. Now you got the 2 high safeties. They're really not trying to hide this. You also have the play side corner and off coverage as well as the corner to the field side. Now, I'm not sure exactly what kind of quarters this is because of the way the safety plays it. There are certain types, also the cornerback, because if it's a match quarters, sometimes what you'll do is have this cornerback in the isolated side play one-on-one and everybody else floods the 3 receiver side because you have Hunter Henry right to the bottom as well as the number 3. But this corner plays it like it's regular quarters. He plays it in the zone technique. So it feels like he should get more help from the safety, but we'll see how this ends up playing out once Drake Maye actually gets this snap. So Drake Maye taking the ball, initially looks to his right. I think he knows where he's going. I don't think he actually ever has any intention of throwing to the middle of the field because of how deliberately he ends up hitting the post, but starts with his eyes down the middle, kind of looking more towards Demario Douglas, if anything. When you see it from the other angle, which we will in a second, you can see that he's clearly looking to the right. I think that's what influences this safety whose hips are turned towards Demario Douglas, whereas in most situations, you'd really like to see him essentially combo Kayshon Boutte's route. But instead, once again, he's paying attention to Demario Douglas, who's about to run into a linebacker who gets really good depth here. Now, at the same time, Kayshon Boutte is just about to get even with L'Jarius Sneed. Now, Drake Maye, after looking right and holding that safety, is going to quickly look left and uncork this thing. Again, it feels very deliberate. Whether he's just getting through his reads very quickly, which he does do as well, I'm not so sure. I think he was trying to hold the safety on purpose. Right. And you got Kayshon Boutte with a step on L'Jarius Sneed, and the safety is just not in position to make a play on this. You'd like to see him speed turn so he can actually chase down the receiver as fast as he can. Instead, and this is why I think Kayshon Boutte called it lazy play, like the corner plays this like he's expecting a break at the sticks. Instead, Kayshon Boutte just takes off, and once again, the safety really doesn't pay him nearly enough mind. Now, good ball from Drake Maye, but not a perfect ball because Kayshon Boutte, and you'll see in the pictures, he catches this with his fingertips. Like his fingers were kind of like turned a little bit too. This was insane that he got this. And we're going to hit the end zone angle so we can fully appreciate what he does to make this play. As always, Kayshon Boutte showing up in a 2-minute drill. Now, taking a look at this from the end zone angle, Drake Maye, really nice.
Oh, there's his eyes. You can see them on pop. Yeah,
exactly. He's clearly looking to his right, again, from a beautiful pocket, helped out by Ramondre Stevenson's chip. Then you see him go from right. Now you see him clearly look to the left side of the field as he's about to throw this to Kayshon Boutte. Now, Boutte tracks this, catches this with the tips of his fingers, then makes a great effort to tuck the ball and corral it with both hands. Get it in one hand and put it against his body, then turn so that his shoulder is hitting the ground, not the ball, and then rolls onto his back. So there's no doubt that that's, in fact, a touchdown. That was an awesome play from Kayshon Boutte.
He is continuing to impress, just like I said the last time, this Kayshon Boutte. And as he said after the game, I like he's got a little swag to him, too, saying that telling reporters that they're taking advantage of lazy secondary play. And that's exactly what it looked like there, as you could tell. Obviously, some manipulation there in the back end from Drake Maye as well, but a great touchdown at the end of the first half. Now, this one that we have here was my favorite play of the entire game because, as we said, it's another crucial moment, another alert play, which Taylor will break down in just a second, but it was a perfect throw. You'll see it, I'm sure, in here, the late hands from Stefon Diggs to kind of influence the cornerback, not to have him interrupt in coverage and just stick his hands out, get his feet down. He does their little celly. Todd Downing's going nuts. This one was super fun. And again, just perfect ball placement. I posted the TV copy on Twitter and people went rogue about it. It's one of the best throws I've seen Drake Maye throw. And Taylor, I want you to tell me how it all came together.
Yeah, this was another example of excellent situational execution. The Patriots are backed up on their own 7-yard line. Drake Maye from under center is going to hit a converted route from Stefon Diggs. Like you said, the crowd, the sideline, clearly showing some enthusiasm. I'll get into exactly who stood out for me. But starting from the all-22 angle, now initially the Titans are going to start off in a split safety look. But what we're going to see that's a little funky is Stefon Diggs is the number 3 receiver to the 3 receiver side, but there's no cornerback over him. The closest defenders are this linebacker who's all the way in the box and this deep safety who's over him. So you're thinking, all right, this is clearly some form of zone coverage. But we're going to get Stefon Diggs shifting over to the other side of the field and pay attention to what it does to these two defenders. The safety walks down, and then the corner, L'Jarius Sneed, or I think it's L'Jarius Sneed, but the corner, whoever it is, bumps outside. And what you end up revealing is single high man coverage with this safety shaded to the 2 receiver side and Stefon Diggs one-on-one. Also going to get man coverage on Hunter Henry with this safety. But Drake Maye is going to like that matchup. And the important thing to note here is that this isn't actually actually a go ball initially. It's only that way because of the coverage. So against the Bills, we saw Stephon Diggs rip off a chunk play running from this exact same look, a quick out route. So he got soft zone coverage, and instead of just running a route and kind of going toe-to-toe with the cornerback on some kind of vertical concept, he, in the conversion, just breaks it off really quickly, gets easy yards, and then is able to make something happen after the catch. But because the defender is pressing him, he's not going to run an out against suffocating coverage. He's going to take off vertically and get an opportunity to make a play. Obviously, Drake Maye is going to take that matchup because he's loving him from Stephon Diggs. So Drake Maye initially looks down the pipe, good eye discipline to make sure he can confirm what's going on in the middle of the field and hide where he's going. But as soon as he does look over to Diggs and sees his man has got a pretty good look. So he's letting this one go and Stephon Diggs is even, but if he's even, he's leaving. Drake Maye does a great job to lead him, drops this in the bucket against very good coverage, man. Like, this is tight. And a big reason that this play works is Stephon Diggs, like you mentioned, shows late hands, doesn't let the defender know he's trying to get this until the last second. Hauls this one in through contact, gets both feet in along the sideline. Bryce Behringer was fired up. You had Kyle Williams doing the "you stink," I think that is. And he even had I think it's one of their trainers over here. He's clapping. Good vibes along the sideline. We're going to show this again from the end zone angle. So Drake Maye, 1, 2, first of all, starting down the pipe on his 3-step drop. Then looks to the left. Also get a solid cut block here from Will Campbell to get the defender's hands down. But it doesn't even matter because it's not a quick throw. Drake Maye is going downfield. And then Stephon Diggs waits the last second to get his hands up. He secures the catch. And look how long it takes the defender to actually make a play on the ball. Too late, son. I'm sorry. And then he tries to kind of rip this out late. But Stephon Diggs protects it, gets himself out of bounds. This is the exciting thing, and what I was hoping we'd see from Stephon Diggs with the Drake Maye is him doing those little tiny things right that may not pop out necessarily if you're a layman who's just watching the game because you want to see big plays. But his ability to get his feet in bounds consistently along the sideline, use those late hands to keep defenders from being able to make plays. Like Rob Gronkowski's told us that he didn't figure out how to do that until well into his career. And you see how that allows Drake Maye to really show what he can do on those downfield passes. So it's not even just opportunities downfield that are drawn up. We also see Drake's ability to make those plays where if he likes his matchup, he's going to try to bring you deep, even if it's a quick concept like we saw there.
The Stephon Diggs Drake Maye connection has been outstanding. We don't have to pull it up there, but also the fact that how perfect that ball was right along the sideline. There was not a ton of room to work with either because he was kind of getting the way he released. He was kind of outside, so it's not like he was in between the numbers and the sideline. He was right there, and Drake Maye drops it right in. Steph Diggs has 39 catches this year on 44 targets. He's only missed them 5 times. They have an 89% success rate together. So especially given it's only their first year together, amazing stuff between Drake and the veteran now. That was the good. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of bad here from Drake Maye. Although he was 21 of 23, when he was asked about his performance and how it compares to Tom Brady's records after the game, he basically admitted there was still a lot of meat on the bone. There were some throws I could have made that I scrambled instead. He did have 3 third-down conversions, but he also smacked his head on the turf, was shaken up a little bit. Looks like he needs to try and protect himself here more, but he had 8 scrambles on the day. For 62 scramble yards as well. So it ended up helping them a bit in the run game, as I mentioned, with those conversions. But there were some missed opportunities as well. So the first one we're going to talk about, he misses Stephon Diggs, ends up taking off up the middle, and gets the Patriots inside the red zone here. But where did he miss him, and what could he have done better here, Taylor?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, I had a hunch before I looked into it, but Drake Maye, so he had a career-high 8 scrambles. That was his most since the last time he played the Titans, and he also had 62 scramble yards, which was his most since Week 9 against the Titans last year. So literally, the Titans, for whatever reason, really get the scramble juice out of Drake Maye. That sounds a little weird. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the all-22 angle to see why this was a bit of a missed opportunity, even though Drake Maye made a big play to set his offense up in scoring territory. So First off, what the Patriots love to do with their two tight end sets specifically, and you can see Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper down here, is it creates mismatches against zone teams with Stephon Diggs against safeties and linebackers. And they did this a lot in the game because the Titans are a very zone-heavy team. In this example, we're going to get Stephon Diggs in the slot to the two receiver side against a free safety in a big nickel package, and that is Xavier Woods. Now, Stephon Diggs is got a mismatch here because Xavier Woods has inside leverage. This outside corner is going to be in a deep zone, but he's going to end up getting run off by Kayshon Boutte on a go route. And then Stephon Diggs is going to be running an out route away from the free safety. So this is a pretty easy pitch and catch. Get Stephon Diggs the ball in space, right? This should be a really easy play for Drake Maye. But for some reason, he's going to take the ball, and he does, in fact, look to the right, and he's got a good look. Kayshon Boutte has his defender looking right at him as he's taken off vertically, and you've got Stephon Diggs running away from coverage, and Drake Maye, once again, is looking right at him. But for some reason, Drake drops his eyes, and granted, it's a really good pocket, so he has space. Not only does he miss Stephon Diggs, but he actually has Austin Hooper coming open on a dig backside. That's exactly what we're talking about, where this could have been a big play to either one of his receivers. And ideally, even though Drake Maye is a big play threat, you want to get the ball in your playmaker's hands. It's why he's even said, I told my receivers, if I have an option between throwing you the ball and just running one in myself, I'd rather make a tougher throw if it means you getting it. So he doesn't want to run in these situations, but it took him a while to settle into the game. Here we do see him end up taking off down the middle. And here, he has an opportunity to get down, right? This is not a situation where you have to get a first down. Yes, it's second down, but if you go down right now, you've set yourself up for a third and manageable situation. And this is where I talk about Russell Wilson. When he was in his early days, especially with the Seahawks, and even to this day, oh my God, I just got a Russell Wilson notification on my phone.
He talked about Sean Payton.
That was so freaking creepy. Anyway, the ghost of Russell Wilson is even like, hey man, you got a lot of space and there are 4 defenders around you. Mike Vrabel points out, if you see defenders, there's another one coming. And that's exactly what's happening. Now, instead of sliding, so there's no chance of him getting contacted, he tries to put a move on this defender, and hey, it works. You know, he gets more yards, but he also does take a hit to the lower body, and he's going to hit his right shoulder on the turf. Now, you can say I'm being nitpicky here, but you don't want to see this happening to your franchise quarterback. One, this could have been an injury to his thigh or his lower body. Thankfully, it wasn't, or as far as we know, it wasn't. But not only that, but also he clearly falls on that shoulder under his own body weight. You don't want to see him in those situations. Now we're going to see another one. Mac Hollins and Stephon Diggs, I thought were open on this play on pretty reasonable situations, and Drake Maye's not going to hit them. Mac Hollins, now usually you see them run curls from this play. I think the defender was expecting it. Mac Hollins is wide open, but instead Drake Maye decides to run. Tries to get even more yards, a little bit extra there, ends up falling forward pretty hard, and the ball ends up popping out. It's not a fumble, but again, it just aesthetically is not a play that you want to have. Feels like he had an opportunity to get down earlier. So looking at the all-22 angle, the Titans originally are going to show 2 high safeties. The Patriots are going to be running a play-action fake with Ramondre going downhill before leaking out. You're going to get Mac Hollins in a motion. Again, this motion, especially next to Hunter Henry, usually means that Hunter Henry is going to be running some kind of vertical route with this receiver in motion running a curl. Instead, it's a short route from Hunter Henry. Mac Hollins is going to go deep, and Stephon Diggs, who I think is initially probably who this is supposed to be going to, is going to be running a crossing route. And that's good news for the Patriots because there's not going to be anybody over the middle of the field. Now, you see the play fake because the Titans are in man coverage, gets both of the linebackers to fire downhill, and you also get the safety who's covering Hunter Henry flying down as well, creating a ton of space, as I said, over the middle of the field with Diggs' defender out-leveraged and in off coverage. Now, Drake Maye looks right, and Mac Hollins is starting to fight through contact, and he's got some space to work with. If he just holds on a tick, he can probably make this throw. Now, he gets to the top of his drop. Great pocket here.
Yep.
Ton of space. Really no reason to panic or anything. You also have Mac Hollins clearly winning deep. And again, Stephon Diggs wide open. Like his defender, maybe he fires downhill, but if you lead Diggs, this is probably a big play because the only defender who's going to know he has the ball is the guy chasing him and this deep safety. So again, Drake Maye is set up to make this throw. Instead, we see him hold the ball, look down, and again, there is some space, and you only have this linebacker to beat. He's going to take that instead of throwing to his open receivers, and he puts a move on the linebacker. Like, credit to you, young man. But again, a situation where not only does he already have the first down, you can see up top, he's past the sticks, right? You have the first down, plenty of space here. I understand it's not perfect. Like, maybe you don't slide necessarily because last year, he got a concussion in a situation where a guy came from behind him and hit him in the head. He knows the linebacker's there. You can still fall forward and avoid contact because there's a ton of space in front of you. Instead, he stays upright, and it could have been a worse hit, right? He does split the defenders, but the way he hits the turf, man, again, that's his left shoulder and his head hits the turf. And the ball kind of pops out as well, but you're thinking about his well-being. This is just unnecessary contact for what? So he does get another like 5 or 6, 7 yards. It's
not worth it.
A little bit extra, but yeah, if something happens and that's a shoulder injury, you're not saying it was worth it. And this is the last one I'll break down. There was another one I could have, and maybe if we want to, optionally we can, because I thought he missed a potential touchdown opportunity. But this was the biggest one. This was the hit that had everybody holding their breath because he winds up not only hitting his head on the ground, but clearly showing that he's a little bit dazed after the contact. So running it through first, this is going to be similar to the play that we saw to Demario Douglas, where you have the post route and then a crosser over the middle of the field, but it looks that way until it doesn't, and Hollins is open outside, but Drake Maye takes off because he sees space, and then you see him shake his head there. Clearly, he is not okay, but it was determined that it wasn't a concussion. Still entirely too close for comfort. So looking at the all-22 angle, we are going to see the Titans once again. They spent a lot of this game in their two high shells. You're also going to get off coverage and a zone look from the cornerback to this side and a big defender in the slot, right? So we know this is breaking downfield to the sideline. This guy has almost no shot at actually making the play because we're going to get Kyle Williams clearing out space. So you know that there's going to be a lot of room to the sideline. Then we're also going to get Ramondre Stevenson faking outside zone to the flat. That's going to hold that linebacker's attention. Also, Efton Chisholm is going to come in motion. He was used to kind of set up Ramondre Stevenson outside a few times, did a lot of dirty work. And the first time we saw him really get offensive snaps, he's going to come in motion and almost act like a tight end in a way that we see Matt Hollins use pretty often and help out Hunter Henry on the edge. Again, acting like a tight end, which is something you see in a lot of West Coast offenses. They'll block an edge defender with two tight ends instead of like an offensive tackle or something like that. And Matt Hollins, once again, breaking on what starts as a crossing route, then breaks outside. These do a great job keeping the defense honest. So Efton Chisholm gets the signal. He goes in motion. And then you're going to get the play fake to the left from Ramondre Stevenson. We see how it gets that defender to bite up. And instead of a bootleg, it's going to be another half roll, right? Just like last week, what we saw was a post, and then you had a crossing route. This time it's a corner, but essentially has the same effect, right? And Drake Maye has plenty of space. There's a lot of squares here. I don't mean to scare you. But start in the backfield, right? Drake Maye, yes, you kind of have a little bit of heat off the edge, but you can take a really quick hitch and have plenty of space to work with because we got the double here. Maybe a little bit of penetration, but still feels like Drake could have gotten this one out. This linebacker is in no man's land. Mac Hollins is about to break into space because Kyle Williams is taking off vertically, and the corner is taking off with him. Doesn't really have a great chance to break on this because you can see his momentum is bringing him upfield. But even so, if you want to put this flat, you can complete this ball. But Drake Maye is going to take a pretty big hitch instead of a subtle one. Big step up in the pocket. He's going to drop his eyes and look to run and beat this defender. And once again, you have Mac Hollins, the only guy who's really making a play on this because you have Kyle Williams clearing out the outside corner is the safety, but the safety has inside leverage, and Mac Hollins is breaking outside. There's an opportunity to make this play. With Drake's arm, he could make this even if he's off platform. Instead, because he sees a lot of space to the bottom of the field, he's going to take off thinking he has one man to beat, throws the stiff arm, kind of tussles with the defender, gets dragged down. Not to mention, man, getting dragged down like this, how many times have we seen this turn into a lower body injury? I could have shown the end zone angle. I didn't really see a whole lot of value in showing the up-close angle of how a quarterback could get injured. That's just not my style. Go on NFL Pro. You can see it yourself. It's not pretty. So first you have him kind of getting wrapped up. Thankfully, nothing happens to lower body, but then, boom, hits his head on the turf as he's being brought down. And he's clearly not fine because it takes him a little bit to kind of compose himself. And then he shakes his head as Ethan Chisholm tries to help him up. So these are the throws you don't want to see from a franchise quarterback. You can get down, man, protect yourself. In that situation, you think you just got that one guy to beat to the edge. I understand, but sometimes it's just not worth it, especially when you have an opportunity to either get the ball to a wide receiver or at least, again, I understand there's a defender right there who's in coverage. Maybe he felt he was in conflict. I'd be curious to know how he felt about it. But worst case scenario, man, if you think you can't make the throw, step up and throw it out of bounds in the receiver's area. It just felt like that was one where he did not need to take the hit that he did. And I can even show another one. You know what? Screw it. We're making decent time. Let's throw it up on the screen. I'll go through it really quickly. So I have it in a question mark because I wanted to be fair. It's kind of, it's in the red zone. Things happen quickly, but I thought that he could have hit Hunter Henry for a touchdown in the low red zone. So once again, we get this motion from Matt Hollins. A lot of the time, this means some kind of sit route. This time, he's actually going to go across the field. Drake Maye gets the snap, is looking towards Hunter Henry, who's open right here, throws the defender off him. I have a breakdown. I'll just go through it. Instead, he decides to take off to the left, gets positive yardage, wound up being the touchdown to Austin Hooper, but probably could have been a touchdown to Hunter Henry, which now that I think about it, this is the same side, I think, of the Titans field where he missed Hunter Henry on that crazy throw to Ramondre Stevenson. But anyway, breaking this one down real quick. So once again, the Titans are going to be in a split safety look, but they're disguising a single high coverage. We're going to get man coverage on Hunter Henry from the safety, who is deep back, so you think maybe they're going to be in a type of zone. Nope, they're just disguising single high man. And you're also going to get Matt Hollins in one-on-one coverage with the cornerback. Matt Hollins is going to come in motion and actually run a crossing route. We also see this a lot of the time, but usually from Stephon Diggs when he's in motion, it's either some kind of a sit route or it'll be a crossing route with a dagger or a dig or in route behind it. What I'm really interested in here is that Matt Hollins is going to be running into space because you have the free safety who's in the middle of the field and the linebackers are basically going to eye Ramondre Stevenson and take him whichever direction he goes. So one of these guys is also going to be eyeing the quarterback and taking away the short middle. So Matt Hollins' route isn't great, but if you're one-on-one with Hunter Henry against a safety, I would take that matchup every single time because he knows how to get open and use his physicality. This reminds me a lot of that Gronk play where he said he earned Tom Brady's trust because Hunter Henry is going to throw a little bit of a chicken wing to get open here. So Drake initially is going to look kind of down the middle of the field, confirm the look. He's looking right here, and understandably, Matt Hollins once again is running into a lot of traffic, but Hunter Henry is able to get separation against tight man coverage. You push, I pull. The fact that the defender is playing physical with him, I think he might get Willie the push off. I'm not going to lie because I think he does extend his arm. But Drake Maye has his eyes in the area, maybe not looking directly at Hunter Henry. It was kind of tough to tell because it's a tight space. But it feels like if you hit this with anticipation, just put this on the tight end's body, he can get open. But even still, Hunter, you can see it here again.
He's got separation now. Yeah.
And his arm is straight. But he is open, and Drake hasn't taken off yet. But he's going to end up dropping his eyes, and then he takes off left. Doesn't take a hit. He gets out of bounds, so good for him. Runs into the wall. That's the worst of it. But, that was just a missed opportunity. Doesn't put himself in harm's way, but that probably could have been an easy touchdown. If they get stopped in scoring territory, we're having a different conversation.
100%. Got to protect yourself. Got to try and make a couple more plays in this one. But at the end of the day, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but since they win, since they come out on top, good learning experience for the quarterback who was obviously, while playing great football in his second season, still has, a lot to make up for, a lot to build on. And these are the kinds of things, Taylor, that show that, we sit here sometimes, or at least I do. I'm like, okay, how much better can this kid actually get? These are the examples that it's like, oh no, it can be even better than it was, even though it was a blowout win where Drake set a bunch of records. So, good stuff here, as always, Taylor. Appreciate the hard work and the effort breaking these things down. Appreciate all the members here watching live. I know we got Courtney and a couple others in the chat, so we appreciate you guys for hanging out and tuning in. I was going to tell you guys that this will go live later on, but since you guys are already here, you've already watched it, so no issue there. But we will be back tomorrow to start Browns Week, our weekly mailbag on Wednesday afternoon. So make sure you keep it here on Patriots Press Pass for all of that. We also have a ton of other coverage, as you guys know. Patriots Beat, Greg Bedard, Patriots podcast, Pat's Interference with Andrew Callahan, the All 32 podcast with Mike Giardi, and now the Pat's Chat podcast with Doug Hyde and Michael Hurley. So plenty of stuff to get to here on the channel. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe, and show our sponsors for the show some love as well. Prize Picks, use code CLNS there. You get $50 in lineups after you play $5. And also Omaha Steaks. Use code Patriots on Omaha Steaks. They have a ton of great sales over there right now. If you use code Patriots, you get an additional $35 off your purchase. So with that, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow again for our mailbag. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you soon. Peace out, everyone.